is Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement or how to buy consulting services. You'll get tips on how to use consulting, buy consulting, and managing the consulting. And now your host, Hélène Laffitte.
Hello, and welcome back to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the podcast where we decode the art and science of buying consulting services strategically, efficiently, and with confidence. I'm Hélène Laffitte, your host and the founder of Consulting Quest. If you're new here, welcome. And if you're one of our regulars, thank you for tuning in again. Today's episode is for anyone gearing up to digitize their consulting procurement. Maybe your CFO is pushing for more transparency. Maybe your team is drowning in email chains and Excel sheets. Or maybe you've already selected a platform and you're about to hit deploy. So hold up, because here's the thing. If your consulting procurement processes are fragmented, inconsistent, or just plain immature, putting them into a digital solution won't fix them. It will just make the problem faster, more visible, and a lot more expensive. So today we're tackling a simple but powerful truth. Don't digitize broken processes. Over the next 20 minutes, I'll walk you through my procurement maturity, why procurement maturity is the real foundation of successful digital transformation, what ready actually looks like, and how a maturity assessment can guide both your digital rollout and your internal transformation journey. And hey, before we dive in, you know the drill. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe. And if you're listening on Spotify or your favorite podcast app, just go ahead and follow and maybe even drop a quick review. It helps more people discover the show, and it tells the algorithm that consulting procurement is a topic worth talking about. So if I may, help me help you. I know it's bold. All right, now let's get started. Because let's be honest, on the surface, digitizing your consulting procurement sounds like a no-brainer. You imagine sleek dashboards, centralized data, automated workflow. You finally know who's spending what with whom on what. And our RFPs read like clockwork, NDAs, SOWs, approval, all handed in with a few clicks. No more chasing people with Excel sheets, no more mystery spend. And not forget the board slide, 30% cycle time reduction, millions saved through better supply alignment, improved compliance across the enterprise. Sounds dreamy, right? And to be fair, those outcomes are possible. Digital solution can absolutely bring structure, speed, and visibility to your consulting spend. But only if your underlying processes are already healthy. Because here's what happens when they're not. You digitize the chaos, the fragmented intake forms, the inconsistent approval, the homemade templates, the Excel sheets with no one updates. You take that mess, and now it's just faster and harder to fix. It's like putting a Ferrari engine in a car with flat tires. Impressive in theory, but you're not going anywhere fast. So before you get swept up in the digital promise, we need to step back and ask, are we building this platform on solid ground or just paving over the cracks? So what's underneath all that chaos? It's not the platform. It's not the budget. It's not even the suppliers. It's immaturity. And I don't mean people behaving badly in meetings. I mean procurement maturity, or rather the lack of it. When consulting procurement is mature, here is what it looks like. Your spend taxonomy is all over the place. Strategy, ops, digital, everything lumped under professional services. RFP templates? Some teams have them, some don't. Some use Word docs from 2017, others just reuse the last email. SOWs and MSAs are not standardized, legal is involved last minute, contracts are inconsistent or incomplete. There is no consistent supply evaluation, just we've used them before. And perhaps the biggest one, your teams don't actually understand the consulting market. They're asking for help without knowing what kind of help they need. And then someone says, let's fix this with a tool. And here what really happens. They try to enforce a new process through the platform without preparing anyone for it. No change management, no stakeholder training, and just a shiny interface and a go-live date. And guess what? Users reject it. They find workarounds. They go outside the system. They revert to old habits. The digital solutions becomes shelfware, or worse, it becomes a blocker. Why? Because consulting is not like buying pens or laptops. It's fragmented by nature. It's strategic. It's political. And it's non-compliant unless you design a process that fits that reality. So here's the big takeaway. You can't fix low maturity with high tech. You need to grow the capability first, or at least in parallel. And the good news, that's exactly what we'll dig into next. All right, let's talk about what really actually looks like. Because maturity isn't some abstract ideas. It's a very practical, measurable thing. And if you want your digital consulting procurement to succeed, you need to know where you're at today and what you're building toward. At Consulting Quiz, we use a maturity model specifically designed for consulting sourcing. And the latest version, updated for 2025, focuses on 6 key dimensions. Let me break them down quickly. There are 3 process dimensions. Utilize, it's how you identify needs, make or buy decision, and scope consulting support. This is usually owned by strategy, transformation, or finance. Then you have buy, which is the actual sourcing and contracting step. Procurement takes the lead here, RFPs, negotiations, supplier selection, you name it. And then you have the manage, and that's the forgotten one. After the contract signed, who ensures the project is delivered, KPIs are met, and lessons are captured? That's the managed dimension. Then there are 3 enablers. Category management. Do you have a structured approach to supplier segmentation, performance, risk, and feedback? Organization model. Are roles clearly defined? Is there collaboration across teams, or is everything done ad hoc? And finally, you have digital, and this is where the platform comes in. How well are you leveraging tech to automate, analyze, and scale? Each of these dimensions is rated from novice to advanced. And spoiler, very few companies are advanced across the board, and that's not always the goal. The goal is awareness and improvement. Now here's where it gets interesting. The maturity score is just a start. The real power comes from the discussion that happened during the assessment. You ask, why are we weak in manage? And someone says, because we don't assign project owners. Then you can ask, why are templates inconsistent? And it turns out no one knew which one to use. These insights are gold. They help you see what's really happening and what needs to change. And best of all, they give you a roadmap, one that's tailored to your organization, your gaps, your pace. So before you invest in a tool, ask yourself, do we even know how mature we are today? And if not, there's your starting point. So now you've done the maturity assessment. You've got the score. Maybe you are proficient in buy, but still basic in manage. Maybe organization model is a bit shaky, or your digital maturity is, aspirational. Now what? Here's the thing. The assessment is not a report you stick in a drawer. It's a conversation starter and a launch pad for real transformation. It isn't the number, it's the why behind the number. So let me give you an example. You see low maturity in project management, so you dig it. Turns out no one really owns execution. Projects are handed off after the contract is signed and then kind of disappear. There's no governance, no KPI tracking, no lesson learned. Boom, now you know where to act. Or maybe your sourcing process looks solid on paper, but the interviews reveal something else. Business stakeholders don't trust procurement. They feel the process is too rigid or too slow or too generic or all of the above, actually. And that insight doesn't show up on the dashboard, but it changed everything. This is where things get exciting, because now you're not guessing, you're designing your digital transformation with intent. You know which templates you're updating. You know which stakeholders to engage. You know which behaviors to reinforce. And you know which quick wins will build momentum. And even better, you've built your case for change. Now, when you bring the platform conversation to your leadership, you're not just selling features. You're connecting capabilities to business plan. You're saying, this tool isn't here to fix us, it's here to scale what we're already improving. And that's a message leaders can get behind. All right, let's bring it all together with a big question. Are you actually ready to go digital? Because here what readiness really looks like, and it's not just about choosing the right software, it's about having 3 essential pillars in place. First, strong leadership support. And not just a signature on the budget, I mean real sponsorship. Leaders who communicate the why, reinforce the how, and stay engaged when the change gets tough. Number 2, a compelling case for change. If your teams don't feel the pain, they won't see the point. The maturity assessment helps here. It connects broken processes to real costs. Wasted time, missing savings, frustrated users, and lack of control. That becomes your narrative. Not we need a tool, but we need to fix how we work, and here's how the platform helps us do just that. Third, a real path forward. This means a clear phase roadmap. It means roles and responsibilities are defined. It means that you're not just buying tech, you're investing in capability. And look, the reality is you don't need to be perfect to get started. You can do both. You can work on your maturity while implementing a platform if the tool is flexible enough to grow with you. Take a platform like Console.io. It's designed to work standalone or integrated. You can plug it early, use it to reinforce new behaviors, and expand as your processes mature. That's the model to look for. One that adapts to your journey, not the other way around. Because at the end of the day, digital is just an enabler. The real transformation that's come from your people, your process, and your progress. And there you have it. So if there's one thing I hope you take away from today's episode is this: don't digitize broken processes. Start by understanding your current maturity. Take the time to explore what's working, what's not, and more importantly, why. Because when you have that clarity, your digital journey stops being a gamble and becomes a growth strategy. Use the maturity assessment as your compass. Let it guide your priorities. Use it to build alignment across your organization. And when the time comes to choose a platform, make sure it's one that can flex with your needs, not box you into someone else's playbook. And if you're looking for that kind of partner, Console.io is built exactly for that purpose. It's not just a digital solution, it's a companion for your transformation journey. Okay, curious about where your consulting procurement maturity stands? You can head over to consultingquest.com and book a free consultation. If you're ready to explore digital tools and that can evolve with your processes, you can visit Console.io and request a demo. All right, that's it for this episode of Smart Consulting Sourcing. I'm Hélène Laffitte. Thank you for joining me. And until next time, stay strategic, stay smart. See you soon, and au revoir.
You've been listening to Smart Consulting Sourcing, the only podcast about consulting procurement. We hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back soon, but in the meantime, hit the website at consultingquest.com. Find us on LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. For questions and comments, send an email to ellen.laffitte@consultingquest.com. See you next time.